Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision on a daily basis. Got a great show for you today, talking about one of my favorite people to talk about, Elon Musk, who now is the richest person in the world, thanks to Tesla's stock going up. Today is the 11th straight day, 700+% over the past year. So it's kind of crazy. I have not taken that ride personally with any of my own money, but I know some out there have, and good on everybody that's had the faith and confidence of taking that ride in Tesla stock. Can it continue? I don't think it can. We will take a look at that today. Also, the market's kind of been on fire. And despite what we've had going on in the Capitol a couple days ago, the market continues to press higher. The futures are up this morning as well, but there's significant headwinds out there. We've got a terrible jobs number where we had a negative print this morning. We're losing jobs over the past month, so the unemployment rate's going to go up. We also had over 4,000 deaths related to COVID-19. So there's some definite things, some warning signs for the market that we're going to peel back today. If you're catching us on a replay, make sure you hit subscribe and the notification button so you can get these notifications on a daily basis. If you want to join us live, go to OTOTnow.com. $25 a month to sign up. There's a chat window and a Q&A window where you can converse with me and we can go over your investment ideas. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. Make sure you have your chat window set up as well as your question and answer window set up with all attendees selected. All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Friday, finally Friday, January 8th. This week, this year is kind of clipping along. One of the funniest things I saw the other day was from January 6th, obviously. That was our assault on the Capitol day, as people were calling that, December 37th of 2020. That 2020 actually continued on. It was kind of funny. So what we're going to talk about today, well, first of all, disclaimer, this is an financial education presentation, and you have to do your own due diligence before you act on anything you hear in this presentation. Full disclosure information is available, full disclaimer information is available at OTOTnow.com. All right, our mission and objectives today: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Well, we're going to talk about Tesla stock, and you talk about growing your money. You heard the stats in the open: 740% increase in the past year. This is the 11th straight day Tesla stock is up. That's insane. I think that's insane, but we'll take a look at the chart to even show you, visibly how insane that is. But if you've taken this ride, it's hard to sell, right? I do have it in the book. I have some clients that insisted on it against my advice, which has been bad advice. But I still think you have to at least take some profits here, sell a little bit, if not all of it, because I don't think it can continue. But we'll look at that when we get to the chart. Also, a question today, something that's not commonly understood, is what goes into your net worth. So we're going to peel that back a little bit. Tangible net worth is obviously things, and then we'll talk about some intangible net worth, because I do work with some folks that have not attached a value to something that actually has a lot of value. So we'll get to that at the end, and don't forget to add your questions up to the Q&A session there. All right. Our flow for today: long, short, open, short, long. We're going to do a market review, go around the world. We'll come back to a headline review. Bitcoin 41,000, GBTC. I'm in it. I'm taking the ride. I honestly think the thing you don't hear a lot about it on CNBC. I mean, you do hear folks talking about it throughout the day, but it's still not mainstream yet. I tell you, behind the scenes, Bitcoin is on fire. 30,000 earlier, like at the beginning of the year, it's up at 41,000. I do think it goes straight to 50. Again, I don't own it outright. I own it through the GBTC. If you want to follow along or own some of it on your own. But it's pretty crazy. And I do believe what Kramer said earlier is it is really replacing gold as a store of value. So if you're worried about inflation, you're worried about the market crashing, that's a good place to put some money. There, I said it. I didn't think I'd be saying that, but it's 2021, new leaf, learn from your mistakes, and it turned out to be a mistake not to participate in Bitcoin back in the day. All right, we'll get into our short-term market execution. Let me update that for everybody because I saw a couple of folks join in late, and welcome to my younger crew. Got a couple of you in here this morning, so good on you. Hope school's going well. We'll execute the market open, transition to Q&A. We'll do question of the day after that. Contingencies, if you have any issues, then reach out to me at steve@ototnow.com. And if you can't follow along or you want to learn more information about what we're doing in the day trading, there are academic resources available on my website. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at TD Ameritrade. And if you're setting up for day trading, I tend to show this first. So you have a few minutes to process it. Micron will be number one. Plug Power will be number two. And then short, SCWX doesn't really have a lot of volume, but it's the most compelling short out there. So we'll get back to that in a minute. All right, where are we for the past year? We've had the big run up. We had congestion going into the election. After the election, the markets run up and basically kind of continued. We had our one big down day, which was Monday, I believe. Other than that, we've recovered. We're off to new highs. When you focus in on the chart, let me get the SPY back in here. Here's what it looks like. So here's your Monday, bam, and then continuing up. Now, what I think is instructive out of this chart is regardless of what happens today, I think we're going to see something like this on Monday, or actually I think we'll gap down into Monday. By the time we start processing that, COVID's killing 4,000 people a day, the vaccine has not rolled out nearly as fast as we thought it would. There are potential other strains out there that we don't know a lot about. And it's not necessarily doom and gloom scenario, but there's negativity out there. I think we were all caught up in the news cycle of this week, which is, oh my gosh, democracy's over, followed by, okay, he finally said it. There will be a peaceful transition. And if we take a deep breath and move on, which I think will happen this weekend, people are going to start looking at market's kind of overvalued here, and there's a bunch of negativity in the air. So that's why I think next week will probably be down, but we'll see. I am going to do some slight selling today across the board. Again, putting money into safety, which I use FIXD for that, like I talked about yesterday. But a lot of positivity going in today. Friday, it could continue higher despite the negative jobs number that you'll see in the headlines here in a second. All right, let's go to those headlines and take a look at where we are. There we go. So refresh the futures here. Futures were up more, up over 100 points. So they're starting to fade a little bit. So we'll see. Disappointing jobs report. Yeah. Negative 140,000. We haven't had a negative print. I wrote down April, but I can't remember if it was April or July. For a few months, over 6 months, we have not had a negative jobs number. And again, this is how many jobs we're adding as an economy. So are we laughing that off? I don't know. Unemployment rates going to from 6.7 to 6.8%. So it's going in the wrong direction. However, that, the other side of that, that kind of means that this $2,000 stimulus check is probably going to happen in a couple of weeks. That's how I would play that, because I think that will show that we're hurting more than we've been letting on to as an economy. All right, looking around the world, Europe is split. Nothing too huge going on there. Japan up big, a couple percent. China off a little bit. Excuse me. Here's our numbers from Friday. Probably the biggest one yesterday was that 2.56% jump. Apple was up 3+%. So the things that sold off on Wednesday, as far as the tech out there, really came back strong yesterday. Volatility is pretty low. Again, volatility will be the play if we do start seeing a market sell-off. 10-year up to almost 1.1, so continuing higher. Oil's been stable, so it's really been nothing to talk about. The move down here, so I think this is a rotation from gold and silver into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one of those that if you talk about the phrase fear of missing out, I think if you're not in, now you're tempted to buy in. So I bought in, a few days ago when it was at 30,000. Now it's at 40,000. There's gonna be more people buying into this every day. So speaking of Bitcoin, here we are, 41,000. It's like, it's interesting because Bitcoin, unlike the market that's open for a certain number of hours, and there is aftermarket activity, but it's pretty muted compared to the overall market. Well, Bitcoin trades around the clock. So, I tell folks that, if you want to be a true junkie, which I mean that in a bad way, good on you if you can do it and make a living, but most people lose a lot of money in Forex trading, right? So you're trading currencies. This does trade with currencies. They trade, I think, 22 and a half hours a day. The exchanges have to close for a half an hour periodically just to be able to catch up with accounting. But yeah, you can get into junkie status if you start trading currencies. And, if you make a living, I don't know, you may make a living doing it, but you might not have a very interesting life if you're up at 3 a.m. trading Bitcoin versus the yen or something. I don't know. So consider not doing that. All right, coming back to the headlines of today. Elon Musk, now richest man in the world. Yep, golf clap. Obviously, he's eccentric. Obviously, he's brilliant, and obviously, he's a visionary. There are some kind of non-standard downsides out there that associated with Elon Musk, like he acts like a 14-year-old most of the time. No offense to the 14-year-olds, but which may be offended by saying Elon Musk acts like them. But yeah, he's but whatever. The richest man in the world, just past Bezos. So good on him. We'll get to more on that when we take a look at the chart. Disappointing jobs report we've talked about. Stimulus checks coming. All right, Trump finally concedes. Not really necessarily. Well, he concedes that Biden's going to be president. He didn't concede the election, though. See what else we have. Yeah, Europe's got this pretty bad for the COVID thing. Tax proposals, I did go through these. We talked taxes yesterday. I'll save that for another day on what the proposals look like. But that capital gains thing is real. That's very high up there on his priority. Okay, that is it for headlines that we're going to take a look at. Let's roll over to move this out of the way and take a look at the story of Tesla stock. So, Tesla 740% gain. Okay, that's good. There's a stock split in there. That's good. They're, good for a stock. It is now profitable. Not very, but it is profitable. They wanted to produce 500,000 cars in 2020. They were only a few hundred short. So pretty much goal met, right? You're not going to argue about the last little dust out there, into the decimal point. But then the biggest one was inclusion into the S&P 500, which gives it a legitimacy it had not had previously. So when you look at this chart, you're like, okay, it's on the way up. Well, no, look at these numbers, bruh. This is 100 right here, and it's now at 800. So that's an 8x on this chart, not just a stock that's going up, 20, 30%. This is 800 or 700% up from where it was. So really what's insane is you just can't even look down here. Get rid of that thing if I can. Price to earnings value 20. It's kind of what people talk about mostly. It's at 1,600. Now it's becoming more profitable over time. So, but anyhow, your big metrics here are all flashing a huge red, which means a huge sell, if you will. But I don't know, if you have it and you hold on to it, maybe it continues to go up. I mean, how much more can this go up, right? So 11 straight days of, it said 11 earlier. That doesn't look quite like 11, but, kind of crazy as far as the ride in Tesla. So, all right, let's move away from this and over to Schwab, and we'll take a look at our day trades potential here a little bit, going over to this one. The first one is Micron that we're going to take a look at. Again, Micron is a long. It's got plenty of volume in it, gapping up from 79 to 82. Micron was on fire. It was at 8 a few years ago. I rode the $8 to $40 move, and then it got to 50s and kind of hung up there for a long time. And I mean, it was my favorite stock for a while. Then it was one of those, I'm like, just put it in your portfolio. They were going to get bought by a Chinese firm. Intel, Trump was blocking that. There's a lot of history, but this thing flatlined for, I want to say, over a year. Anyhow, I got out of it almost completely. There's still some remnants in there, but in the book. But look at this move lately, 70 up to 80. It got a double upgrade, which is from a hold all the way through overweight to a buy. And they just beat earnings last night. So a lot to like about Micron stock. Can it continue? I do think it can. Another one we'll take a look at is Plug Power. Plug is one of the EV names out there. It's a battery maker. It is gapping up. It's got plenty of volume. And we're at new highs on the chart, but Kramer had them on last night, and there's some value in Kramer having folks on to his show, and moving the market. So I think this thing has potential to go higher as well. On the downside, we have let's see, VLDR is the first name. I think we're going to take a pass on this. It has the volume and it has the drop. And they missed earnings a little bit. It was not impressive anyway. So I don't know. We'll take a look. We may switch to that. I like that name long, so I hate to go in and short it. But SCWX is a little bit compelling here. Hardly any volume, so we have to wait on this. But they got a pretty big downgrade, and I like where it is in the chart, 1368. So that's what we're going to have pulled up on our day trading chart first, and keep an eye on that. If you're aggressive with it, you just realize that you're almost throwing a dart at the beginning. So you want to be careful with SCWX. All right, let's switch over and get ready to day trade. I'll need a second to get my stuff set up. Make sure I shared that correctly. I did. Think Pipes is up. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target trade of the day. We are 30 seconds to the market open. We've got 4 screens in front of you. We have the SPY on a 1-minute chart over here all the way to the left. The futures are up and kind of trending higher. We have Micron and Plug long, so these are 2 longs. And then the one over here is a slightly traded name, SCWX, which is a short due to a downgrade that it received. So take a look at that. There's our opening bell. So we see the first move out of the market is higher there. We're going to zoom in on Micron, up 4%. Plug up 11%. So that's kind of out of our range. So we'll watch those a little bit. And then let's see what's going on over here. SCWX down 5%. I like that. There's a pretty low volume. So we're going to have to be patient on that one. Okay. Another name I want to check real quick is VLDR, just to see how it opens. VLDR missed some earnings, so it's selling off a little bit. Man, there goes Micron higher. Back to SCWX here. So Micron's working. Plug is back into our range. Plenty of volume, couple million shares there. I'm really more interested in taking SCWX short, especially since it popped up to here. So 13, we're looking at a 15-cent stop. 13.50, 13.57 would be the, no, 47 would be, I'm just making some notes for myself. All right, let's look at SCWX short, and let's take it here at 13.32. So end of the trade, take it south. It's going to be kind of a tight stop though. 13.47 is our stop to the upside. So this is our stop, and then our targets, have to do some hard math here. 13.02 is the second one. 13.17 is the first hour point, And then the exit is down here at 1285. So when you try to short this, you may or may not get it. But if you do, you're going to be pretty happy. You still take it here at this 1330 point if you missed it. And see, these are big bars and the light trading at the bottom. So even if you don't get a full R, I would try to get maybe half an R into this trade, and and just be patient with it, because obviously it's not flopping around. So into the 1330, 1332 range, and you'll be fine. Let's take a look over here at Micron. So this is why, if something that's good instructionally as a trader, if if your thesis is it's going higher and it screams higher on you, you have to say, I missed it. You cannot go, oh, well, it's going to continue up till the end of time, right? No, you have to say you missed it. There was the move. You're in on it or you weren't. When you look at this move right here in this first bar, 82.60 to 83, so that's a dollar move. Then it teases you by going higher, but then it resets. So if anything, you would want it to come back down to this 82 range. And then when it starts back higher, you could look at taking it again. I'm not going to take another trade in Micron. But if you were convinced something was going higher, this could be the initial ride. Then here's all the profit taking, and then it goes back up. All right, talking about the overall market's holding in the green, even though we did get some red there. And let's focus in on plug. Plug's going nice and strong, but we're not going to go in that. So we're in the one trade over here. Again, entering around 1332. If you got it secondarily at 1330. Now the exit point's down here at 1286. Now look at these dojis to the downside. So set this in there at the 3R point. So if it hits it, it markets you out, which is good, right? So we're down at 13. We're down at the 2R point. We'll leave this up here for a second, because I think we're going to hit our exit point and be out of the trade here pretty quick. And then we'll go around the world. So not going to look at Micron anymore. Let's take a look at, what name I'm going to pull up. Yeah, Luckin. So Luckin, I think, was at 830 last I looked. 851. How about that? Big day for Luckin. I like it. Up 1.6, but above the 850 level, which I like. So holding on to Luckin there. Let's see. PLTR is another name that bought a little more recently. Down in the 23s, it's up at 25, up 1% today. It had gapped up. Blink is, when you say Plug Power, which is up 10%, Blink does the same thing. It's battery technology, so I'd imagine it would be up as well. It is not nearly as much, but it's been on fire lately. Let's take a look at Apple. It's kind of the biggest name in the book. Up there at 132. So that's pretty good. I can't remember what the actual high is, like 134 or something. But getting close to that. Took it over to our trade. It's 12.9. So again, we're holding out for 1285. With this action, I have no problem holding on to this trade and making sure we hit our exit point. Just due to the light volume, I would not get fancy and try to hold this. I would just simply take our 3R move to the downside and be done with it once we hit it. All right, let's look on. I'm looking on another screen, so I can just keep the trade up here, because I think we'll be out of it here pretty quick. Let's see, Micron up, GoDaddy up 3% on the day. Tesla up 4%, up to 854. Goodness. We'll pull Tesla up here while we're looking at it. Man, $854. That is crazy, but good for Elon. And Clickstream's up a little bit. You've heard me talk about Clickstream lately. Again, it's a penny stock, thinly traded. Excuse me, thinly traded, but up 10% on the day. It's down here in the 4-cent range. Now, if you buy into this, realize if you buy stuff that's off over the counter, OTC, which either 4 letters or 5 letters can be OTC, you'll still pay your $6.95 a trade. So some people are confused by that, like GBTC, which that's another name we can pull up. That's our Bitcoin investment. If you sell in and out of this, it's going to be again $6.95 a trade. So if you don't want to trade it, right, because there's a lot of friction there, money going out the door. But up another 7%. Today. Look at that. That's a nice move up there. All right. Looks like the trades, and I'm going to go to another. As soon as I go to another screen, it's going to write down to 1285. But we need to move on. All right, let's take a look at everything else that's going on. You can pull the trade up on another screen. So here's our 5-day look at the SPY. Clickstream up 10%. There's our Bitcoin Neo up 6%. EV China electric vehicle maker. Laser, which is they do the same thing as LVDR, which is gapping down today. Since LVDR kind of stubbed its toe, Laser's probably picking up some money flowing over from LVDR. It's funny because EV names again continue to outperform. Nikola, you've heard about. SPNV is Supernova. That's a SPAC that's out there doing well. Tesla up 4%. There's GoDaddy I talked about. KWeb has, it's been a little rough going for the Chinese technology out there, but it's doing well today. Twilio, Palantir's up. Alibaba's up. DraftKings, all right, looking good. Let's see what's on the downside here. Siri selling off a little bit. Again, that's Sirius SM, not Siri for Apple, but Sirius SFM. Workhorse is an EV name that's selling off. I don't know exactly why, since the rest of the names are up. Canopy Growth, pot name, gold, GLD is a straight gold holding there. GNOG is Golden Nugget Online Gaming. Need to make a note. I think I'll sell out of that today. Move on. Camping World Holding, another thing that I'm probably going to move on from today. Get some selling out of the way. Kohl's, I'm going to look at when it reports. Whenever it reports, I'm probably, after you get that good first quarter, that should help the stock, and I'll look at selling out of Kohl's as well. Overall, with taxation coming and the market all-time highs, I am looking for things to kind of sell, to move out of. Verizon's another one. I sold some of that yesterday. I think I'll get flat on Verizon today. Okay, that is it. Let's go back to our up chart and check back to the trade. Did it hit our exit point? No, it did not. All right. Well, I'll update you on that before we leave off the show. Let's go back to talk about net worth. Okay. Especially for the younger folks in the room, I say this, and a lot of adults don't understand this, and I didn't really come to this realization necessarily until later on in life, when I really understood. If most people end up their whole life making cash flow decisions. So when you think of what is a cash flow decision, it means how much money do I have in my pocket and how much can I spend on something, right? From a monthly basis, from rent to car payments to credit card payments, all of that payment stuff, which you kind of want to leave behind as soon as you can. When you're doing those sorts of things, you're thinking cash flow. You're like, can I make this work? Well, when you're doing cash flow math, you are not building wealth, right? You're not getting rich. You're doing day to day. Your head's down instead of heads up, looking towards the future. So try to get out of the cash flow game as soon as possible. Some people do this their whole lives. They never escape it. But that's Dave Ramsey, right? So go to Dave, help him get you out of debt, cut up your credit cards, all that stuff. But once you get on the other side of that, then you start thinking net worth. And net worth is where you have one thing or several things out there that are growing and appreciating over time, like a house / property. The house actually depreciates, but like physical property, like where you live, if you own it, like your stock market holdings, gold, silver, that sort of thing, other investments, outside of your own ability to generate income, which you're your number one investment out there. But those go into your tangible net worth. So when you think of adding all this up, and when you say that Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, they're adding up his tangible assets. So tangible assets, let's get in here. So to calculate net worth, and I think pretty sure you all had this at Cactus Ranch in like fifth, I didn't go to Cactus Ranch, but in elementary school in fifth grade, and you've revisited it, but you calculate your net worth, it's assets minus liabilities. So if your house is worth $500,000 and you have $400,000 on the mortgage, you subtract those out and your net worth is you have $100,000 of actual value there. Tangible is tangible assets that you can put your hands on, like houses, cars, gold, silver, that sort of thing. Also included in tangible is your brokerage portfolio. Even though you can't hold your portfolio in your hand, I mean, you hold your phone in your hand, look at your portfolio, but you could always sell it and convert it. So that's why it's considered a tangible asset, even though you can't physically hold it. So when you look at what isn't tangible, or other stuff that's out there. So tangible, cash, investments, real property, land, structures, personal property, jewelry, cars, boats, furniture, things you can hold, and then financial assets, things can be converted to cash. So therefore they're considered tangible. The intangible are, assets you cannot hold. Goodwill, copyright, it's intellectual property basically, is the bigger issue out there. So if you have a business, or you own a patent, or you have an idea, all of those things are intangible, but they do have value. So when I talk to folks, so say somebody out there is going to start a blinds business where you're going to put blinds in people's houses. Well, say you're a one-person shop and you go do it and you do it better than everybody else, and you have a whole bunch of high-end stuff, and you have clients that call you and refer you all the time. Well, you've built a business, and that, you can do that, and then when you retire, that can all go away. That would be dumb. You would be leaving probably $1 million on the table. Instead of building all of that for it to go away when you decide to retire, you need to build it, package it, and sell it to somebody who can step right into your role and be able to continue on in that business instead of building it from scratch. So people don't necessarily think that way. So if you are a young potential entrepreneur out there, you want to not only build something to make money, that's cash flow, right? I need to make some money so I can pay for my stuff, or family, and when it gets to that point. But at the end of that, when you build it out, you want to sell it. You do not want it to just go away. You've worked far too hard to get something to that point. So anyhow, how do you estimate the value of that? Well, there's a 6x multiple. You can get into some accounting, blah, blah, blah. But, something to think about, that if you build a business, you want to sell it at the end and not just have it go away. All right. That's what I have for net worth. Let's go back real quick to our trade. Not much has happened here on the trade, but it's sitting down here again. We took it at 1332. It's sitting down here at around, what's that, 1.5 R. I like where it has congestion here. It's down 6%. So just needs to really move down another 1.5%, and we'll be out of the trade. So I will update that later or bring it back, talk to it on Monday. So, all right, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. Been kind of a crazy week. We had democracy challenged. We're still kind of arguing about whether the president should be tossed out of office here in, a couple of weeks prior. We'll let the mainstream media sort all that out. I don't think any of that's going to happen just because of the short time frame to the inauguration. But either way, the market literally doesn't care. The democracy is intact. We can kind of go on about our business. So with that, let me let you go. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you back on Monday. Bye.